I am in the merchant services industry, as you said, and it's been a privilege to get to know both of you through our networking organization, BNI. And we had a really candid conversation last week, so I'm happy to share it, and hopefully other people can relate. We talked about some of the journeys and the struggles that we've been going through since COVID hit. And in the middle of March, everything changed dramatically for a lot of us, right? Myself especially. And
Yep,
particularly in the month of April. And I realized that I let the fear overtake me and affect how I was doing business. Because I felt like, as an outside salesperson, it wasn't appropriate to prospect for business, because it felt like approaching someone as they're boarding up their windows, getting ready for a hurricane. The worst time to talk to someone. So I was a little bit unselfish, the opposite of selfish. And just because we're in sales, we all have to make a living. We have to pay a mortgage. We have to provide for a family. And there is nothing wrong with continuing to do business. But what clicked for me is I had a meeting, one of these one-to-ones, with the executive director of our region of BNI, Business Networking International. And he gave me great advice. And it was so simple, and a light bulb just went off. I had an epiphany. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same result. I was approaching business the same way, with also the fact that I wasn't putting in as much effort because I was afraid of approaching people. I had to change how I was doing business, and I had to get back to work. I had become a little bit lazy. Hopefully my boss isn't watching. But I got lazy and used COVID as an excuse. And I don't say that to undermine the seriousness of what's happening. And we all need to be respectful of one another. And I realized that if I'm not putting in the effort, I'm not going to be able to earn income to provide for my family. So after having that meeting, a light bulb went off. And I decided, I realized that to bring income back in, I have to make more of an effort. Sure. Well, the old way, I was really not making as much of an effort as I should have been. And so that was problem number one. So I've gone back to making a plan every day of where I'm going to go, what stops I'm going to make, any businesses that are in that area, try to stop into those as well. So having a daily plan and planning the night before, because failing to plan is planning to fail, right? Those were just basic things. I changed how I was talking about my business in our Business Networking International, our BNI chapter. I didn't want to give the impression that business had really slowed down, almost come to a halt. I was embarrassed about it before realizing that it was my own doing. So when I was giving a weekly presentation, I was giving the same presentation and not really taking into account the fact that things had changed. We hear the new normal a lot, but life changes a lot. And I think back to 9/11. Now, growing up in the Northeast in New England, things changed drastically in that area, and we had to adapt to changes. And I think we forget that we're so much more resilient as people, as a nation, than we think we are. And we're never given a challenge that we can't handle. We just have to have the right mindset. If we constantly believe negatively that we're not going to get through this, we manifest what we put in our minds.
So you had said something about when you were at your lowest, you actually, instead of reaching out, you reached up to get advice and help. Can you walk us through that a bit?
Yes, and one of the things I've learned in doing personal development is that you're a product of the people that you associate most closely with. And if you're struggling, and that happens to us in business, it's like a roller coaster, it goes up, then it goes down, right? I reached up, as you said, because I wanted to hear from the top people that are successful. And our executive director has been successful in BNI for 20 years. I really respect his advice. I respect how he runs the regions that he manages. And I thought he would be a good person to seek advice. And I appreciate that he was available and willing to have a conversation with me and be upfront about what I needed to change.
Kelly, at any point, did you feel intimidated to seek help that high up? Because I think
Absolutely.
that can be thank you for sharing.
Yes, I
that.
did. Because in my mind, I think, well, I am a member of a chapter. I am in a leadership position for the region, but still this person is very high up on the totem pole. So yes, it's intimidating, but we have to see within ourselves, if we want to grow, it takes a lot to recognize that you need help. The attitude, and I think the sooner that we look at ourselves and what we're doing from a business and a personal perspective, and the sooner that we adapt and make changes, this is actually an opportunity to grow. We may not think of it that way, but we're learning to do things differently. We're developing more skills. And the sooner that we realize it and make those changes, we're going to come out so much stronger and resilient when we come out on the other end of this. And we will. And we always do.